Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. As you guys might have seen, maybe not, I'm going through a Java bootcamp right now, and I've been super inspired by other YouTube channels where people have documented kind of like what they've done over the period of time to get to where they are as far as getting a job or whatever. So I was really inspired by that, and I wanted to start vlogging more to kind of see like what I'm actually learning in this bootcamp, the pace of what we're learning week by week in the boot camp, and also kind of document where I am individually too. I want to be able to look back on these videos and see where I was as a programmer, you know, today when I made this video, and then in 4, 5, 6 weeks from now. I just want to have all that documented and hopefully inspire some of you guys and show you that you can do it too, and help you if you're thinking about going to a boot camp, specifically a Java boot camp. Hopefully give you some insights on what you might want to learn ahead of time, or what would put you ahead going into the boot camp, or whatever. Yeah, so I got my little notebook right here. This is pretty much where I keep like all my notes. So today is October 13th, 2018. My first day of boot camp was this past Monday, October 8th, 2018. And my first video on this channel was from my orientation for the boot camp, which was October the 4th. So you guys can start seeing my journey from October 4th at orientation all the way through graduation. So today was today's Saturday, so it was my end of my first week was yesterday. I don't really know what's going on, what I'm doing with this video, where it's going, but I know it's gonna help somebody out there. So let's just jump into it. Day one of Java Bootcamp, we talked about classes, a lot about classes, and then we also talked about our IDE, which is an integrated development environment, and we're using Eclipse in my bootcamp. So we learned a lot about how to navigate Eclipse, the shortcuts on the keyboard, how to create projects and classes and things like that, because we're going to be using this every single day, and we have been using this every single day. Getting comfortable with an IDE or an integrated development environment if you're going into a Java bootcamp is going to help you out a lot before you get there. So yeah, that's definitely a pro tip right there. And then we got into the scanner class, and so that was one of the first classes that we learned about. Let's jump over here into Eclipse, and then I'll show you guys for the super beginners. I'll show you kind of an example of some of the stuff we were doing on day one. So over here, we have this class, and I just commented this stuff out right here. This is just an example from class, so I just commented that out to show you guys what's going on. So you can ignore all this right here. It means absolutely nothing right now because it is commented out. So again, I know this is kind of common knowledge for anybody who has programming experience, but I'm just saying that for anybody who's like a total beginner, don't be intimidated by this right here. This is nothing. So yeah, so basically, to use a scanner, you have to import it, and then we need to create a new instance of the scanner class. So new scanner system.in. All right, cool. So what this line of code does right here, scanner equals new scanner system in. This is just creating an instance of our scanner class, because it is not a static method. So we need to, in order to use it, we need to create an instance of it before we can use it. So this is some stuff that we talked about in week 1. So what you just heard me say, like instances and static versus non-static classes, and how those things kind of get typed out. So what a scanner does is pretty much allows a user to input something. So yeah, this is pretty much just any way of there's something called a scanner in Java that actually lets somebody lets a user actually type something in. So let's do an example here. So let's say let's make a string called name, and we'll say name equals scanner.next line. But before we do that, But before we do that, let's make sure we actually say something to the person so they know what to type in. So we're going to do a sysout or system.out.println. Again, super Java basics. You can go look all this stuff up. This is not necessarily a tutorial. I'm just trying to show you guys kind of what we were doing on day one and, you know, some of what you might want to get familiar with. So system.out.print, we're going to say enter your name. And boom. I'm really just going to get rid of that. That's really distracting. And then sysout. Oh, sysout. Come on. Sysout. Alright, cool. So what we're doing here, we're just making a string variable. So whatever this variable holds is going to be, you know, some sort of string with letters, characters, numbers, whatever. We created a scanner, basically another class that lets the user input something. So we created a scanner, and then we said enter your name here on line 11. So we're asking the user to give us their name in a scanner or in text, and then our name variable is going to hold whatever values the user puts in here. So system.out.print name. So if we run this now, we get enter your name. My name is Darian, so I'll type that in, and then it just prints it right back out to me. So this idea of just using the scanner and learning how to import classes into Java, into your projects, I would say the scanner is where I would start for sure. If you're going into a Java bootcamp, I would definitely check that out because it's super useful and we use it a lot. I'm being told that we're not going to be using it down the road, but for beginning purposes and printing things to your console, it's just the beginner way of doing things. So you might want to get familiar with that. Primitive types. So obviously learn about what a string is, what an integer is, what a double is, what a float is, what a long is, short, byte. So all those things, you want to get familiar with that. So primitive types, scanner, class, and Eclipse, your IDE. So those are the three things I have for you from day one. All right, so day two, what did we get into in day two? In day two, we talked about switch cases, while loops, if, else, for loops, and do while loops. So here's a project from day two. This was a practice problem that we did together in class. Basically, it's just showing us how to use if and if else statements, and we just created a test grader. All right, so we run this. It says enter your test score here. Let's say we got a 75 on our test, so we got a B. And why did we get a B if we got a 75? It's because in our logic we have else if. Okay, so let's start from the top. So we have an integer, which is obviously a number called grade, and then our scanner is going to take in the input for that grade. So then we ask the user to enter your test score, so that's what we have here. And then grade, the number that they put in is going to be their grade, and then that's what's going to tell our program to, you know, give them their score based on whatever number they put in for their grade. So day two, which is all about loops and how to use them, things like that. So definitely get familiar with loops. It's a big part of not just Java, but just any programming language. So again, you can see that a lot of this stuff is like super fundamental stuff, but we spent, you know, 8 hours going over it, asking questions, working on practice problems, doing things together as a class, working on peer programming activities. So you're getting a lot of different scenarios and instances of where you have to actually take the knowledge you're learning and then apply it to different things, and it's really helpful. So you, I would say practice, definitely doing practice problems online maybe would definitely help prep you for this type of stuff when you get there, because you're gonna have, you know, homework every day, more than likely at your boot camp, and you're gonna want to feel comfortable with this stuff to feel confident, you know, helping your classmates or just being able to complete your homework assignments every day without, you know, stressing out. Days 3 and 4, we talked more about methods, but more in depth. And then we did some challenges and things like that using methods. So on day 4, we had to turn in a homework assignment that was to create a dice rolling game. So we had to allow the user to put in a number, so using that scanner, put in a number of the sides of dice that they wanted to have. So there could be a 4-sided die, there could be a 6-sided die, there could be an 8-sided die, 10-sided, 12, all the way up to 120. So I didn't even know that. But we had to make a game that basically allowed the user to tell us how many sides of dice they wanted to have, and then the game had to generate a random outcome for that number of sided of dice. So in order to make all this work, I created an integer called the user value and a string called play again for whenever the game ends, the user is supposed to play again. So those were the instructions that we had for the lab. So inside of a do while loop, I have open the scanner so the user can put in some information. And I say, enter the number of sides you'd like your dice to have. Acceptable numbers are 4, 6, 8, or 10 because I wanted to limit my game because the logic to go all the way up to 120 dice was just, yeah. So the integer I created up here, user val, is going to hold whatever values that the user puts in. So if the value the user entered, user val, is not 4 or 6 or 8 or 10, then it's going to say, please enter a valid number of dice because we don't want them to be able to enter any number they want. Else, so if it's not, if it is 4, 6, 8, or 10, then our system is going to print out to the user, your first dice result is, and then we're going to call another method called dice roll. So let's scroll down here and see what we did for dice roll. So here's a separate method, again, getting comfortable with methods. And this is something that, by the way, I struggled with before boot camp. So this last week, I've gotten a lot better with methods and loops because I wasn't good at this stuff like a few weeks ago. So in dice roll, we have, so if user value, so our dice roll method is going to take in an integer of user value. So if the user value is 4, then we want our system to randomly generate a number between we want our system to randomly generate a number up to 4. So y times 4 right here. Math.random method only returns a random number from 0 to 1. So if we want a random number from if we want a random number from 1 to 4, then we need to make sure that math.random times 4 happens. So this will make sure we get a random number anywhere from 0 to 4. And then we need to add 1 because we never want our number to be 0. And then this integer right here, this is called casting. It's another concept you'll want to get familiar with for, probably your first week of any boot camp for any backend language. But so casting just takes this number, which is going to be returned. So this result, math.random times 4 plus 1, is going to be returned as a decimal. And we want that number to be a whole number. So casting it as an int just basically turns it into a whole number instead of a decimal. And then, yeah. So then back up here, your first dice result is, then we call dice roll. So once our code hits right here, it'll start running all this code, and then it's gonna use user val, which is the number again that our user put in. It's gonna use that number to perform these checks from dice roll, and we have to run dice roll twice, right here and right here, in this line. And in this line, we have to run it twice because we need a result for 2 different die each time, right? So we're going to get 2 different results. And then after that, we wanted to say, do you want to roll again or roll again? Yes or no. And then we'll take in that string we made earlier called play again. It's empty right here. So these quotes just mean that it's an empty string. And then we can pass something into it. So play again equals whatever they answer, either yes or no. And then if while play again is yes or y, then our program starts over. So let's try this out. Let's try the dice rolling game. So we'll hit enter. Enter the number size of dice you'd like to have. Let's say an 8-sided die. It says your first dice result is 2. Second dice result is 7. Do you want to roll again? Let's hit Y for yes. Boom. Enter number size dice you'd like to have. Let's enter 10. Your first dice result is 6. Your second dice result is 9. Roll again, yes, and so on. So we'll do 4. So yeah, and then if we hit no, we're in, then nothing happens because our program doesn't have any logic for if the user hits no. So yeah, so that was our big thing for, I think, day 3. Going into day 4, I think we submitted this. So yeah, the dice roll. This is really fun to solve on my own. I think this project gave me a lot of confidence and like belief in myself. Like, yo, I could not do this a month ago. So that was really encouraging. Like I said, tons of resources out there to help you guys out with this right here. And yesterday, it was our last day of the first week. We had a review project yesterday called a capstone. And that capstone, which sucked, was a Pig Latin translator. So let me show you guys that. This is gonna suck. So this is where, if you guys think that I'm a really good programmer and all this stuff, like as you start following my channel, this is where you'll see that I'm still very much learning, and that's why I'm doing this, because, you know, I want to help other people out. I want to inspire people with my own mistakes and whatever, and hopefully, you know, somebody will take this and be like, yo, if this guy can do it, then I can do it too, because this challenge sucked and it was really hard. So basically, we had to create a Pig Latin translator. So it was supposed to take a word, and if the word starts with a vowel, then you have to add W-A-Y to the end. So for example, if a user types in the word apple, then our system should print out apple way. And then if the word starts with a consonant, then the consonant should be moved to the end of the word, and then AY should be added to the end of the word. And then another additional challenge of our beautiful project was that if the word starts with a consonant, then every consonant before the first vowel had to be removed and added to the end of the word plus AY. I know, it sounds like a lot. Again, this is not a tutorial. I'm just here to tell you guys what I did in my first week of Java Bootcamp, and hopefully it will help you just prep yourself and get ready. So here we go. Let's dive into my code and see how bad I fucked this up. So, all right. Yeah. So, I don't even know where to start here. So basically, I made a bunch of strings, and you know, I made a string for the word that the user puts in. I made a string for, so LS stands for left side, RS stands for right side, and then FS stands for full string. So basically, when we want to split those consonants from the front of the word and move them to the back of the word, I want to split the word into two, and I'm going to do that. And so I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But in order to achieve that, I needed to create a variable to hold the left side of the string. This is going to have the consonants, which is LS, and then the right side of the string, which holds everything up to that first vowel, which is going to be RS. And then the full entire string, which is going to be everything put together at the end, and the AY added, all that good stuff, is going to be called FS, for, you know, just make things easier. All right, cool. And then you'll see what the chart and the integer is used for. All right, cool. So bring in the scanner so that our user can enter a word. Then we say, hey, enter a word. And then user word, which is our string, is going to hold whatever word the user puts in right there. So then we have a for loop. And this is like one of the things that I struggled with so much up until this bootcamp, but now I understand for loops a lot better, and I'm really grateful for that. So really take your time to be comfortable with for loops. But so we do this for loop to check the word for any vowels. So what I did was I set I to 0 and made it so that as long as I is less than the length of the word the user put in, then we're going to loop through it, and we're going to check all these conditions. So we're checking to see if the first letter, which is character at 0, that's what that means. So if the first word, if the first letter of what user word is equals A, E, I, O, or U, then we're just going to add W-A-Y, add W-A-Y, add W-A-Y, add W-A-Y, add W-A-Y. Pretty easy, right? That's the vowel part. That's pretty straightforward. Here's the hard part. The consonants. If L is, L is going to be the length of the user word. And then we're going to do another loop to check here. So basically we're searching, so here we're searching for the first vowel. So character at I, because I is our vowels. If our character is one of these, so if it's a consonant, so anything that's not a vowel, then we want to take the left side of the string from zero, index of 0, which is the first letter, up until I, which is that first vowel. So take everything from the first letter up to the first vowel, and that's going to be our left side. And then our right side is going to be everything after that vowel. And then we're going to take that right side, add it to the left side, and then add AY. And then we're going to print out the full result of this, the right side plus the left side plus AY. So we should get what we want, right? Yeah, no. So let's see. For example, I type in apple. Like I said, Appleway, right? Boom, we got Appleway. Awesome. So our vowels work. Let's try the consonants. So my name is Darian. Starts with a D, obviously. Starts with a consonant. Boom. So now we have that. Yeah. Welcome to programming. Yeah. So essentially, it does work here the first time. So it does remove. Right here the D, the consonant. It adds it to the end of the word here, and then it adds AY. So this is the first result right here. What we want. Aryan day. Aryan day. That's weird. We don't want re-india, indire, indiria, and indiria. So we don't want those results, and I'm still like working to figure this out and to actually solve this problem. It's due on Monday. Today's Saturday, so I'm trying to like actually do this and do YouTube and talk to you guys too. But anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful somewhat. I don't know if any of it will be. I just tried to give you guys an insider look at the actual curriculum, like what you actually do in a Java bootcamp. So if you guys thinking about spending your money on this stuff, or going to a bootcamp, or like learning Java on your own, or taking an online bootcamp, I just want you guys to kind of know before you spend your money, before you get into all this, like what it is that you're expected to know, or what you're going to be doing. And I'm going to keep you guys updated as we go week by week, and show you all the way through me getting my first job and graduating. So yeah, man, Darian the Dev, thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be dropping new videos every single week. So yeah, stay tuned. Peace.